James Harden continues to be red hot. Last night, Harden scored 31 points to extend his streak of scoring at least 30 points to the appropriate number, 30 games. Harden is averaging just over 36 points per game, which is 7 points higher than the next highest player, and that's Anthony Davis. So, Chris, what do you think? Has Harden surpassed LeBron as the best player in the world?
To quote my good friend and radio colleague, no way, no how.
Wow.
Look, and James, I said it earlier. I love his game. And to do what he's doing, not just statistically and stuff, but the way he's doing it. Like, you know, Greg, to go down every possession and one-on-one shake somebody up with the dribble, 6'9" guys with long reach in your eyes, and you can find room to get enough room to get your three-point shot up. It's incredible, just even the way he's doing it. It's all isolation, essentially. So nothing away from him. My contention is this, though. You do not become the best player in the world in the regular season. You have to do it in May and June.
But we're
and
not
July,
in May and June yet.
But hold
you can't
on.
do that
so
now.
He can't become the best player. Especially. Now, if he was a young guy, hadn't had many trips to the playoffs, and we hadn't seen him on the big stage, then maybe I would be saying, okay, he's getting it done in the regular season. We just haven't seen him in the playoffs. But unfortunately for James, we've seen him struggle mightily in the postseason and in the biggest moments of those postseasons, whether it was Golden State back in, I believe, 2015, whether it was San Antonio in Game 6, where he inexplicably doesn't even take a lot of shots. Like, we've seen him have those moments, and that is always in the back of people's minds when you talk about who's the best player in the world. All the guys, heck, we held Michael Jordan to that standard. When Michael Jordan had all the Come Fly With Me videos and even the Air Jordan sneakers and all that, before he started winning, people still were like, Magic's the best, Bird's the best, something like that, because Jordan had not won in the play. And I'm not even saying Harden has to win in the playoffs. I'm just saying he has to be at his best, because Jordan, before he won the championship, he got to be viewed as the best, but it was because even though he was losing to the Pistons, he was giving them everything he had. Right.
No, there
was no shrinking. There was no.
It wasn't like
shoot the ball. What happened? Even if we want to give Harden a fatigue excuse, well, you know, he carries them in the regular season. He's tired. I get it. We didn't see that with Jordan. And if you want to be the best player in the world, that is the mantle you have to carry. I don't hear about MVPs, because Steve Nash was a two-time MVP, and not once, not for 1 second, did anybody think he was the best player in the world.
Yeah, but this is different. And I get you. This is different. You know it.
How is it different?
It's different because of where he is, what he has to do for his team to win. You know, with Chris Paul and Capella and people being out, and he still has to be able to put on that burden night in and night out to be able to win. I'm with you. Just scoring points isn't enough. But when you're 21-9 in those 30 games and your team started off terribly and you put them on your back and took them to where they are a contender and they are scary once you get into the playoffs. I get the pass. But right now, when we talk about right here, right now,
what is the right here? What's that definition? Is that this month?
That's right here, right now from the standpoint.
3 months?
Don't tell me about LeBron James. The difference between James Harden and LeBron James is that LeBron James has won one more NBA Finals game the last 2 years than James Harden. That's the difference. There's only one game difference.
LeBron
what are you telling me?
For the last, I don't know how many years, LeBron has been at his best in the big moments. Now, he had his issues against Dallas. But since then, he's been at his best
in
the bigger moments.
He's also the faute, and we talk about it all the time, finals failure of all time. He's lost 6 times in the NBA Finals. for a guy who's won an MVP. He's lost more than anybody.
You know, I was going to say, how many times have Harden lost?
Well, he hasn't gotten there yet.
Oh, he hasn't gotten there yet. You're right.
But I'm talking about, I'm just talking
Right
about
now.
right here.
Okay.
He's the best player.
In your definition, why not Paul George?
What?
Why not Giannis?
No, because he has other players around him.
Giannis?
He's doing it by himself. I'm talking about in the
He's got Chris Paul.
in the Western
They're
Conference
the
where
fifth
it's
seed.
so
You act
hard.
like they're challenging Golden State.
Look, I'm not saying, but they were in the mix. Weren't they in the mix last year against Golden
Last
State?
year.
Well,
Last
but
year.
why? Because of James Harden. James
Chris
Harden
Paul,
won an
too.
MVP last year. He was in the mix of Game 7 last year against the Warriors. And this year, look at where they are. And it's all on
Rob,
James Harden.
I'm
He's
gonna
better than
agree-
LeBron.
You gotta look bigger
He's
picture.
better than
with you.
LeBron.
You gotta go bigger picture.
I'm going to agree with you, and we're going to jump on Chris
All right.
What?
He's
No,
Not
you're
at all.
lying. You're
Not at
lying.
all. Not at all. I'm going to agree with you in this sense. Right here, right now, he's the best offensive player in the world.
offensive, though.
Offensive player in the world.
Why you got to put a qualifier on it?
You did it right here, right now.
Right
I don't
here,
know what
right
that
now, he is the best
definition is.
offensive player. He is doing something special. But what we've seen in past, he's been special offensively in the past, but it hasn't produced in the postseason, which it is the most important time of the year. And you want to know how I know you believe that? Because you never let us forget LeBron James lost 6 times, but he's gotten his team in position to have those 6 important losses because he's in that championship finals every single year. James Harden hasn't sniffed it. And so until you can get to the point, and I'm sorry, y'all talk about KD has to win a championship, until you can get to the point where James Harden has a championship, how are we going to just all of a sudden overlook Kevin Durant and say, okay, now it's James Harden because he's won once? Absolutely not.
The finals.
Exactly.
The final one thing.
As a young buck, he's coming off the bench with
They-
OKC. You're right.
Yes,
And he didn't play that well.
No, he struggled.
And I gave him a pass. He's a young guy.
Right.
Exactly.
But it looks like
now
maybe
he's the
they
guy.
made it once. Okay.
He is the guy, and he hasn't reached the finals. And even if he reaches the finals, I need him to win. Because if you're saying you're the best player, well then where's your hard work?
So you're telling me that you can't be the best player. If your team around you isn't good enough, or for whatever reason you don't make it there, you can't look at a player and say whether or not he's the best player?
Nope, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. And but if he was defensively as sound and as impactful,
But he doesn't. That's not the league. The league doesn't play
that's
defense.
not my fault.
LeBron didn't play
hold on,
defense last year and got to the
Look
finals.
at the guys that have been typically viewed
Yeah.
as best in the world. You know, it was from Jordan to Kobe.
They did it
to LeBron,
on both sides.
They were all tremendous defenders. They all were. And I'm not going as far as Greg to say he has to win the
Yeah, he
finals.
got to win it.
I think if he were to, let's say they I'm going way out on the limb, but say they upset Golden State and for some reason lost in the final. You know what? Let's not even go there because that's really not realistic. Let's say they get to the conference finals against Golden State. Maybe Chris is out, so it's just Harden, okay, against all these superstars.
And they
in Golden
win.
State. No, and they lose.
Oh, okay.
They take them 6 or 7. And Harden is giving them the business.
Right. I got it.
43 points, basically doing what he's doing now. I might be willing, okay, and especially if they beat LeBron and them in the playoffs en route to Golden State. But no, you have to at least be at your best in the biggest moments. And James just hasn't done that yet.
I got it. I got that part, and I do respect it. But I'm talking about
Right here, right there.
right now, what he's doing in a night in, night out basis. I look and I go, this guy's unbelievable, considering what the amount of work that he has to put in just for his team to have a chance to win. And then to win consistently.
I agree with all of that.
Those aren't empty numbers. None of his numbers are empty.
I agree with all that. I mean, just the amount of energy one has to exert. That's what sometimes I don't think people really understand. Like, we've all played one-on-one basketball. The easiest thing to do is to just settle and take jump shots.
Because you don't want to put the work
But
in.
to dribble and get to the lane and get fouled and do it over and over again and then make those jump shots when you're fatigued consistently all the time with the defender in your face, it is impressive what he's done. That's why I say offensively, No doubt. I'll give him that. He's been the best offensive player we've seen in a long, long time.
So LeBron James, despite the season he's having, he's the best player still to you?
In my opinion, that's LeBron James, man.
I would say this to you,
He's
Rob.
been injured. I like Kevin Durant.
Better?
Like, he's like right there, in my opinion, because offensively, he's great. And defensively, what he's been able to do since getting to Golden State, they've challenged him to be that defensive stopper at the rim and kind of guard the best players at times if Draymond Green isn't going to do it. And he's done it, or Clay. And he's been able to step up to that plate.
We've seen LeBron step away from going out to guard the best player on the other team.
The reason why we've seen LeBron do that is LeBron understands I'm not the same defensive player that I once was. But when he was young, and everybody talks about that Dallas championship
meltdown, it was.
It was but nobody mentions the conference finals before that against the Bulls, where it was all LeBron and no Dwayne Wade and no Bosh. Like, it was all LeBron, and it's like we don't put into context. Like, you know what? Maybe he was just spent. He still got him there. But he didn't show up. So we own that.
But you got to remember, LeBron was the one on stage. Not two, not three, not four, not five.
That was a young mistake.
Right.
Because he was excited about what they were formulating together, and he felt like they were undeniably going to be great.
And then when you lose and have a meltdown against Dallas, people are like,
that finals was on him.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and it changed his career, really. The thing I say about LeBron, and I look, best player in the world, I mean, it may be to a place where it's open. You know, you want to talk Giannis,
I want you to pick a spot.
KD,
I want you to pick a spot.
I'll go with LeBron still right now.
That's on rep.
Here's what I'll say. But here's what well, not necessarily, because LeBron took a team that went 6-12 without him and had him in the 4th seed. You talking about what Harden's done. Harden's got them in the 5th seed, Houston. LeBron had his team in the 4th spot that went 6-12 without him. Okay, so he's still getting it done on the court as well. It's not like it's just all reputation. And we saw it in Cleveland. His ability to make a group of players that wouldn't be very good without him, 4-23, in fact, without him in Cleveland, got them to the finals. Got them a championship.
Yeah, but that was more the Eastern Conference.
No, but they beat Golden State. They won a championship.
No. Oh, I'm talking
in that 3-year window with Kyrie.
I'm talking about last year when they made those trades for those players that everybody thought LeBron was going to make better. It didn't happen. LeBron doesn't always make everybody better. The Lakers aren't this group here.
They're 6-12 without him. How do you say they're not better with him?
No, but I'm just saying, excuse me, where they are, you would have thought that they would have elevated their games playing with LeBron. Some guys have actually taken steps back playing with LeBron.
That can happen.
That's all I'm saying. Ingram,
that can happen.
Ingram and Lonzo, they haven't played what we thought they would with him. Kuzma's fine.
Right.
Much respect to James Harden. I think LeBron still has that title. Who does the better Rob Parker? Greg or Chris?
No way! No how! No way! No how!
He really dragged it out. Is it finally time to admit the Patriot way is the best way to do business? Oh, God. We'll discuss it next.